because it's come upon our civilization in a weakened state after a century of violence and war and genocide and democide. And now we've got this ideology of evil disintegrating the family, destroying life in the womb, preying on the elderly, the sick, and the disabled. It will swamp our civilization. We will collapse into tyranny. We will lose everything. A great campaign is just that. You need to drop what you're doing, and you need to get involved. And get involved with the Pregnancy Center, if that's what you want to do, because they are the most important organizations in the world, because they're saving babies every day.
Right, on the front lines.
Lobby. If you want to lobby, then do that. Why? Because we live in a constitutional republic, and we are the sovereigns. And God is going to judge us as he judges the kings and the pharaohs, because we are the kings and the pharaohs. We are responsible for the laws of the land. And it is about changing laws, as well as changing culture, as well as changing hearts. It is all of the above.
Yeah.
And we need people who are focusing on changing the culture, like Eduardo. We need people who are changing hearts. We need people like in the pregnancy centers, and we need people changing laws. And David Barton, who is a hero of mine, he says that, look, we change culture after we change the laws. If you look in throughout history, the culture changes after the laws are changed.
Right.
So we're not going to have a culture of life until we change the laws. That we need to change the culture sufficiently to a point where we can change the laws. But it's not until after the human person is protected under law that we're going to see our whole civilization order around a refounding of this idea that human beings have intrinsic dignity.
I want to ask you about something that you said on the Ending Abortion webcast with David B. Wright. You're talking about changing culture and how one of the keys you said to changing culture is changing Hollywood. And you noted that a lot of the recent movies have been, they seem to lean more pro-life now than they used to.
This movie, that just came out, The Right, it's like the most pro-life movie ever.
So
the kind of horror flick looking one?
It's a true story based on an exorcism. It's amazing, the pro-life message in that. And it's
Wow.
Hollywood is just pounding out pro-life messages.
So my question for you, I can see how someone like you, a film producer, can be working in Hollywood to make Hollywood more pro-life. Is there anything that a grassroots pro-lifer that's listening to that webcast or listening to the podcast, what can they do that'll help Hollywood become more pro-life?
Best question ever. Go see our movies. Buy DVDs.
Spend your
And to do that, this is awesome. We have a new tool.
I set you up
I
for
didn't
that
plan
one,
this,
didn't
did I? Okay. Go to our website, I like to show off and say I know how to say W on radio, which is because normally I say W. Movie2movement.com.
Movie to Movement.
Movie to Movement, and you click on Theater Captains, you put in your zip code, and your local theaters will show up. Sign up to be a theater captain.
What is a theater captain?
Good question. Okay, for us to change culture,
Liz.
we need.
I'm sorry, it's just a weird
for us to make
phrase.
okay, so a theater captain is someone who says when good films come out that promote truth, beauty, and goodness and have high artistic merit, I'm going to make sure I'm going to organize my grassroots community on an opening weekend. We're going to fill the theaters because, like with Bella, because we sold out opening weekend, we were able to go from 60 theaters to 70 theaters. I mean,
it was remarkable how
to
many
120,
theaters
then from 120 to 400, then from 400 to 700.
Yeah.
How we did that was because grassroots activists filled the theaters. So Movie to Movement is trying to create a system that we can do this all of the time with less and less resources because we're
that's a
building.
great idea.
So you put in your zip code, your favorite theater comes up. You sign up to be a theater captain, you build your theater teams. There's prizes, you get to meet celebrities, you get to go to premieres. So we really need you. For us to change Hollywood, we need men, women who will invest in films. Films aren't cheap.
Right.
I go around the country and I ask people for millions and millions of dollars to make movies. They invest. We need people like Eduardo. Eduardo, since I've known him, has turned down over $30 million in job offers because he won't do those films.
Right.
So he's made a huge sacrifice.
Right.
We need producers and artists to make the films. But if men and women invested, folks sacrificed their career to be in these films, to step away from mainstream Hollywood, and we didn't show up on opening weekend, the investors would lose their money.
Right.
The actors and directors and producers would walk away and do something else or begin to feel the temptation to compromise.
Right.
You are a very important part of Hollywood when you go to a theater. You're part of our team. And when you become a theater captain, you're joining with Eduardo and the producers and the directors and the investors to change culture. So that's how.
Yeah.
I mean,
last night you used the phrase "defeat the culture of death through art." So can you expand on that a little bit? I mean, beyond film, or you can talk about film too, but you don't hear a lot of pro-life groups talking about art. Sadly.
No, like nobody.
right. Well, Solon, the lawgiver of Athens, right?
Yeah.
Said, "I would rather choose the music of a city than its laws." And he said, because people break laws when they think they won't get caught or there are no consequences, but they never disobey art. They never disobey. And music, you conform to what you're watching on television. You conform to what you're listening. People imitate art. How many times have you seen a statue and you walk up to the statue and you stand on one foot? Or you do it. We've all done that, right? People imitate what they see on television. They imitate what they see in movies, even when they don't know.
Or you relate to the characters. I mean, you hear about people, they talk about the people on television shows and movies as if they were a friend. And
that's right.
And it becomes, talk about like just Friends, the series. They're like, oh, you're such a Phoebe, or you're such a Monica. How many people have heard that?
Right.
And they become real people.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you, it's funny you should say that. I was at a restaurant in Burbank a couple weeks ago, and I saw this girl, and I was sitting with a group of guys. I said, I know her. I think I know everyone at that table. They go, really? How do you know her? I'm like, she's really familiar. I think I went to high school with her. Like, you should go introduce yourself. And they were laughing. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, I will. And I got up, and they pulled me down. They said, dude, that's Courtney Cox.
You did kind of.
In my brain, I filed her away as a friend because, of course, friends.
Right.
And I'm like, how do I know her? And so that's exactly right. How many women have written us letters or called us or sent us emails that they were lying on the abortion clinic table and they thought of Nina when she sat up, and they sat up like Nina and left. They were imitating Nina.
Wow.
So
what are more ways that we can do that? What are ways that pro-lifers can try to? I mean, are there art projects? I mean, what should pro-lifers be doing in the area of art?
Well, I think that we're not all called to be movie producers. We're not all called to be performers. I think we need to be, again, political economy. We shouldn't give our money to the culture of death. We should not support companies that are destroying our culture. I think of, for example, MTV. When you're watching MTV. Or you go see some of these movies that attack our faith or attack the culture of life.
Right.
You're participating. Again, like when you're helping us with Bella, you're promoting the culture of life. But when you go to see a film that promotes the culture of death, you're helping them. You're making it possible. When you go see Saw 4, I hope no one listening to this podcast saw 4. And I know someone's like, oh my gosh, I saw Saw 4. Yeah, you should be ashamed of yourself. When you do that, you're becoming a partner. You're becoming a part of a team that from the producer to the consumer, you've made that possible. And so we should be very good stewards. For me, we pulled cable out of our house. We have Apple TV, and which is a great invention. You have Apple TV. You get Netflix for $7. I should get paid for this. And then nothing my family sees gets past me.
Right.
I choose everything they see.
Right.
Yeah. Your films are extraordinary for Christian or pro-life type films. They have a very high quality. So I'm guessing that when you're calling pro-lifers to the arts, you're not calling average people with no artistic talent to make bad movies.
Well, I'm an average person with no artistic talent, I can tell you that. I'm a below average person with no artistic talent. And so my role is, raising money and promotion and grassroots. We all have a part we can play. So if you feel that you're called to make a film or, but it's a hard work and you have to, get involved and learn the industry. It's like any other industry. Like if you want to open a restaurant, you just don't say, I want to open a restaurant. And it takes, you should probably work at a restaurant for a while or research. And so no, but we know we aren't a Christian film company. We're Christians who make films.
Right.
And we hope that no one who sits in our film says, oh my gosh, these Christians and their propaganda. No, we tell stories.
Right.
But you can pick the stories you tell. Right? We should be prudent in the stories we share with people. So every film I hope that you see my name on will just be a beautiful story.
Right.
That when you leave the theater, you want to love more, you want to judge less. That you look at the people around you and go, oh my gosh, they are made in the image of God. We want people to just be in awe of the human person. As an atheist, when I read Sartre, a little paragraph that he wrote that said that the idea as atheists that we can respect human dignity is absurd. And he went on to make this argument. And at that moment, I became a theist because he convinced me, if you're saying that the only source for human dignity as we understand it comes from the Judeo-Christian concept of being made in the image of God, then we must be made in the image of God. And so we hope when people come out of our films, and that's why the same day Rush Limbaugh and Bill O'Reilly came out on their shows and said Bella's the best movie ever, Rosie O'Donnell on her show leaned into the camera and said, Bella, this is the best movie ever. Everyone go see it.
Right.
Why? Because she's an adoptive parent who is in awe of her child, and hopefully that our film, she, empathized with what the film was saying about how beautiful children are, how beautiful adoption is. And so that's what we're trying to do.
If you get those three on the same page.
What's that? Oh, Rosie, I know Bill O'Reilly.
Seriously.
And that's the power of art.
Right.
Beethoven said, what comes from the heart goes from the heart. And so beauty is undeniable.
Yeah.
You cannot resist it.
There's a bunch of Students for Life groups on college campuses. Liz was leading one last year, and you're still part
involved,
of one.
yeah.
I heard you mention doing like screenings of Bella on college campuses, so you can talk maybe a little bit about that. But also, are there other ways, things that you would encourage if there's some Students for Life group, like they've got their students and they're all pro-life, they're all excited, they don't really know what to do. What are the kind of things that you think would be really, really beneficial for a pro-life group on a college campus to do?
Okay, yeah, go to bellaoncampus.com.
Bella on Campus.
Or Bella Hero. Bella on Campus is an old site that we need to update. I'm embarrassed of it. But you can go to bellaoncampus.com or bellahero.com. We'll pay for the public screening fee, and we'll send you the DVD.
Nice.
All you have to, and we pay for the pizza and the popcorn and all that.
Hey,
you
free
just
pizza,
give
free
people
popcorn.
right?
I am in.
You know what I mean?
Every group right now just said
Everybody
sold.
is
No
on
Jack in the Box for you. No Simon Noodles. No.
Nice.
Yes, pizza and popcorn. And we've been doing it everywhere from Yale and Carnegie Mellon to community colleges and everywhere across the country.
Okay, I am telling my group about that this week, and that is going to happen at Fresno State this semester.
And it's exciting for me because everywhere I go in the country and speak, kids will come up to me and say, "Thank you so much for allowing us to screen Bella on our campus." It's amazing. What you can do, I don't want to limit you. Be creative, be confrontational. I believe in confrontational evangelism on campuses. You have to beat the rap, relativism, apathy, and pride. And the key to doing that is confrontation. When we were on schools and you're young, you can get away with things that if I did, I'd go to jail. Have fun, be creative. One of the things we did at my campus, and I'm not saying do this, but this is an idea of having fun because young people want to be confrontational and they want to do things that are different and fun. So chalking is great,
Oh, right, yeah.
Now, when you do the Justice for All or the GAP projects, those take a lot of energy and they're draining on a club. So you want to surround events like that with fun things like the movie and the chalking. But you should do both. But like one thing we did that I thought was fun, we did it every year, is April 29th, I think, is Abortion Providers Appreciation Day or something like that. And my campus always did a big event. So we would get our club to dress up in their nicest clothes. We would get the girls to wear beautiful gowns. And we got thank you cards. And then inside the thank you card, we had a really rough picture of a baby in a garbage can. You probably know the picture.
Yeah.
And so we had the girls stand outside, and as the people came to the event, they'd say, "Thank you for coming," and hand them the thank you cards.
Wow.
They would open it up, and it would shock them. And every year we did that, which was my last 2 years, and then 1 year after I went that I know of. The abortionists did not stay to receive their award. And why? Because they knew the people in the audience knew what they did.
Yeah.
And they couldn't, and they were so ashamed.
So you actually invited abortion providers on campus?
No. They would do this big award ceremony.
Oh,
we would put our girls as if they were part of it, dressed in gowns.
Gotcha.
The people would put their guard down. They'd get the thank you card. We'd always do kind of fun, silly things like that. Or I told you the last episode we talked about the Hard Truth videos with XXX on them, and we put them out. So be creative, be fun, be confrontational. Every chance you have to give a speech in class, it is on abortion. Every group project that you can make about abortion, make it about abortion, because you will save babies. And if your club does not know the name of one baby a year that you're saving, you're not doing your job, because you have a chance to save babies every day.
You've been watching Life Report, pro-life talk, real-world answers. Life Report is produced by Right to Life of Central California. Visit their website at fresnoprolife.org.